I don't think we've had anyone this decorated in the studio with us beforehand.
Well, yes, you did. You had Trish and Garth in here, so they are country royalty as far as I'm concerned. So they are, but he's like a 7-time winner or something of all these albums. Yes. So yeah, he's got his credentials as well. But thank you.
With all of your
I dressed up just for you guys.
Can you explain some of this stuff?
Well, if you're in the military, you know what a lot of this stuff means. Obviously, I'm a 1-star general, so you've got that on my shoulders.
So what does that mean as opposed to any other kind of general?
There are 5 levels of general: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We haven't had a 5-star general since I believe it was Eisenhower from World War II. So it's just a level of, command, a level of responsibility as you go up in the ranks. Right. Just like you go from Sergeant E5 to Sergeant E6 to Sergeant E7. There's a lot more responsibility every time they add one on. But addressing my uniform here, I've been a recipient of the Bronze Star for my tour in Iraq in 2003, 2004, where I was a battalion commander.
So that was early on in Iraq,
I was first in. I was one of the first units to take my battalion in there. And we did postal operations, personnel operations, and I also ran the morgue down in Kuwait, which was a really, really tough assignment. But fortunately, we are very adverse to casualties, so we didn't have as many casualties as I near expected. But one of the situations I was in a helicopter that was leaving Fallujah. I was on a mission out there. That was a real hot spot when we were over there, and I was in a Chinook that got shot down, and you rarely walk away from a helicopter crash. So I was in a couple skirmishes up in Fallujah and Kirkuk, Tikrit, and Mosul when General Petraeus was actually commanding up there. So I was awarded the Combat Action Badge for a lot of that little fire I had to take every now and again.
All right, so that's the one.
That's the one on the top,
okay,
yeah.
So what does that mean right underneath?
Underneath that is the airborne badge. I'm a paratrooper, so I was jumping out of planes. Not anymore because I've had a hip replacement, but back in my younger days when I didn't know better, I jumped out of a few airplanes.
And then we have a lot of color.
We have a lot of color. You don't want to get into all of that stuff, but basically you've got the Army Achievement Medal, a couple overseas badges from the war, Meritorious Service Medal, the Bronze Star, and the Legion of Merit. So
it's nothing. It's like, why even bother bringing it up? Right.
And then you somewhere or another figured out time to get a doctorate degree in business administration?
Yes, the military is very, very big on education, both for our enlisted ranks and our officer ranks. And it's very, very much encouraged that you continue your civilian education because that brings a different skill set to the mix. If all you do is the military, you're not in touch with what's going on in the world that you're protecting, in the United States that you're protecting. So they really encourage us to continue on with that. And as a reservist, I'm a citizen soldier. So I'm an Army Reserve soldier on the weekends, or basically 24/7, but I also have a civilian job as well. So I need to keep up with my civilian skills, which in my case are human resources. So I got a master's degree in business, and I got a doctorate degree in business, and I also went to the Army War College, which is a second master's level degree.
Okay, so I just want to pause for a moment because, when you think of you go into your office, and the person who has the hardest job is HR, right?
Yeah,
they're dealing with all the issues, they're dealing
Truly.
with all the
Truly.
insurance, they're dealing with all the stuff that as a communications major, I avoid 100%.
I would, I don't know how I got into it, but I did.
So
and,
you
and
did that. You're
yeah.
a doctor in it, and you're also all of this.
A decorated soldier.
I've been busy. I've been off the streets.
I want to know, do you sleep?
Not well. I try, but I don't do it very well.
Superhero.
You are a superhero.
You really are. I'm so honored just that you're here.
Here
with
I
us.
come to save the day. So.
She's Mighty Mouse.
Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely. And now you're also here because we're celebrating the Army Reserve's birthday. That's
Yes.
Late April.
Late April. Yes. We always celebrate, obviously, what we do in protecting our nation. And I don't know if you knew this, but less than 1% of the population serves in the military. Less than 1% of Americans serve in the military. So, we like to cut the cake and say, congratulations, happy birthday, Army Reserve. We're still alive and strong. We're still working at being the most lethal force, that America's ever had to protect our nation and to protect the people and what we hold dear and our Constitution and all of our rights.
That's awesome. Yes, and that should be celebrated.
It
And
is.
thank you to all of our service.
Yeah, absolutely. All of them, and anybody that has ever served in any capacity. You know, even my dad, he was in the Navy for 2 years, and he boo-hooed me. And I hope he hears this when you air this. He boo-hooed me when I was joining the Army in college in ROTC.
Yeah, like what were you
But
thinking?
now he is so proud of it. And I think things have changed with this war. We have really embraced our soldiers when they come home and have really cared for them, which we didn't always do well in previous wars. So I'm really happy for the service that folks give.
He boo-hooed you because you chose Army over Navy.
No, he just boo-hooed military service.
That
Yeah,
had to be a thing, at least in the beginning. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Okay, and obviously you are a woman.
Last time I checked, yes. Last time I checked, and I'm going to keep it too. So
Good.
yeah.
Well, I'm proud to have you in the club here. But Women's History Month.
That's right, March.
Like, what better person can we have to discuss like all of the women who have done such amazing things when we have someone like you sitting right here?
Well, thank you. And there's been women before that paved the way for me. I mean, when you look at history, women didn't get the right to vote till what, 1921-ish? I mean, that's not that long ago when you think about it. But, there's all those trendsetters before me that opened those doors, because come 1976, women were the Women's Army Corps. They weren't even in the active Army. They had their own corps, and then in 76 they allowed them to come into West Point, as well as, the active services. So a lot of trendsetters that gave me the opportunity to do the things that I got to do. Women were only jumping out of airplanes for about 4 or 5 years before I got to go. And when I went to airborne school, there were 10 women in a class of 700, and only two of us graduated. Yeah, that's the density, and you see a lot more of that now. And my last tour duty as a reservist was down at Fort Benning, Georgia, where it was a really interesting experience, because that's where I went to airborne school back in 1983. A lot more women going through airborne school. And Fort Benning is where all of the armed forces pretty much train, your infantry, your armor. So it's very has been male-centric. And I happened to be the first female general ever on Fort Benning when I was commanding the 98th Training Division. And also got a chance to work with the first females that were going through combat arms training down there as they were going through the Bradley Mechanic School. And I got to speak with a lot of those young female soldiers. And my message to them was, just remember this: when you're in your uniform, you are part of that team. You are not female, you are a soldier. Right. And you support the team that you're supporting.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, I mean, as the first general, the first female general there, did you think about that, or was that was that something
not really, because I've had so many different firsts, like airborne school and a variety of other things that I've had a chance to do. So no, I didn't think about it, and it was really magical, because the post commander at the time was Major General H.R. McMaster, who is now Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, and he just really embraced me and embraced the Army Reserves being on the installation. And interesting, one of the first things he had me do when I first took the assignment was I was the guest speaker at their Women's History Luncheon.
Oh, good.
So yeah, it just keeps circling around for me. But no, I didn't even think about it, because I think after 33 years of service, I just kind of do what I just kind of do. Just right. Like you just kind of do, and have your great talks like you had this morning and everything, and you just fall into it, and you fall into your rhythm. And I think I've just fallen into a rhythm that it doesn't bother me.
Generally, you said that there were women before you that blazed a trail. Who were some of your inspirations?
Well, people that you don't know, to be honest with you. More people that you've never heard of, that were just mentors. That, as I was telling Sean, kicked me in the butt a few times and said, hey, if you don't get to this school, you're not going to get promoted, and you've got what it takes. And so I try to equally kick people in the butt who have the same opportunities or abilities, to get them moving as well.
And everyone needs that,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
Everyone needs those kind of mentors
right,
in their lives. So
yes.
I applaud you for being there for so many people and being such an outstanding role.
Matter of fact, Sean, I just kicked you in the butt too in the car right up here tonight.
Excellent.
He needs to get to school. So Sean's my assistant today. So, but we had the career talk on the way up too. But my story is I needed it, because I got behind on a few things, and had I not listened to those couple of female colonels along the way, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you. So.
General Doctor, with it being Women's History Month, right now there's a young woman right now in the car that needs some inspiration. I mean, what is your go-to message to that woman.
Whatever you do in your life, don't stop. This has been a consistent theme of mine. Don't stop. If you want to be it, you can be it. But don't stop. Don't stop for anybody. Don't stop for marriage. Don't stop for the kids. You might have to slow down, but don't stop that dream.